just like to welcome everyone to the webinar and let you know that we have an exciting session planned. Today we'll be talking about London Bio Innovation Week, the first week of December, which is really going to be a new, exciting week in London for the early stage life science community. We have a number of fabulous events going on that span the gambit from science and education and networking to getting investors and investments lined up and strategic partnerships lined up. So it's the soup to nuts version of supercharging and getting your early stage life science company going, getting the knowledge you need and the connections you need and the money you need, I might add, to really make a fabulous start of your journey or continuation of your journey, depending on what stage you're at. So we have some of the organizations that are hosting events during this fabulous week. I think you'll see that this week, much like Jeffrey's Week or London Life Sciences Week, will really grow to be a new footprint in the London life sciences scene, especially for the early stage parts of our journey. So I'd like to introduce everyone on the call. We have Tony Jones from One Nucleus, Sanj Kumar from ELRIG, and Vicky Louise from SLAS. And I will let each of them do a more detailed introduction of themselves, and then we'll get started.
Okay, so I'm Tony Jones, and thanks for the welcome, Sugato. So I'm Chief Executive of a not-for-profit group called One Nucleus. So we're a membership-funded group. So we have about 400 organizations, be they commercial organizations of the size of Big Pharma or spin-out companies, some academics, all organizations involved in biomedical research and creating new medicines and health tech interventions. And we've been going for 25 years and looking to nurture that environment with our companies that enables deal flow. So an environment that's high on trust and knowledge exchange and high on signposting and onward connectivity to other organizations that we interface with. And part of our activities is the annual Genesis conference, which is part of London Bio Innovation Week.
Yeah, my name is Sanj Kumar. I'm the CEO of a community called ELRIG. So what ELRIG does is it puts on events for the drug discovery community. It puts on about 10 scientific conferences on per year, specifically for people who work where their research is around about drug discovery, which means that they work in industrial research. They work either in pharma or in biotech or in CRO companies. We've been going about 25 years as well. We have around about 22,000 people on our mailing list. We are a much more informal meeting, informal organization, because to join ELRIG, you simply just go to our mailing list. And to come to one of our meetings are all free to attend, and our business model is to be supported by sponsors, by people who, tools providers who give us sponsorship. And like Tony, and you'll hear from Vicky in a second, we also have an event that's taking place during December, and we can talk about that in a short while.
I'm Vicky Louise. I'm the CEO for the Society for Laboratory Automation and Screening, also known as SLAS. We're a global organization, a nonprofit, much like ELRIG and One Nucleus. We have about 23,000 members in our community from around the world. And our members, similar to those at ELRIG, are working in the life sciences space. And we like to say that they work at the intersection of discovery and technology. So they are in the lab doing a wide range of work in life sciences, or developing the technologies to automate that work in the lab.
Thanks, Vicky. And last but not least, hopefully not least, my name is Shigato Das. I'm the president of Life Science Nation. Our mission is to connect early stage life science companies with the investors and strategic partners they need to succeed. So we do that by providing a number of tools. One of them, and probably the one that many of you have heard of, are the RESI conferences. They're a series of investor partnering conferences Basically, that means it's a conference that allows you to pre-arrange meetings with investors and strategic farmers like large strategic partners like large pharma companies, and also features a wide variety of programming, workshops, and networking events focused on fundraising and out licensing. We also provide a very detailed investor database focused on life sciences. So if you are looking to raise money, we feel that you need to have a starting target list of at least 400 or more investors to go after if you want to eventually narrow it down to one that actually bites. So it's important to start big. It's a numbers game, as we say, and we offer entrepreneurial education. A lot of early stage CEOs are scientists and don't necessarily know how to execute the sales, marketing, and BD game necessary for fundraising. So we help companies with that. And finally, we provide a service called BD Assist, where we actually set up meetings with investors for our startup companies. So with that, I'll jump into going through an overview of the really exciting events that are taking place during London Bioinnovation Week, which you are definitely invited to if you're on this webinar. And Tony, I thought we could start with the Genesis event.
Okay, so Genesis, like our own overall organization, this will be the 25th year of Genesis delivery in London each December. So it'll bring together around about 400 active players in the life science R&D space. And Genesis has always been a conference-led event where we look at strategically where's the sector going, what trends are happening, and importantly within that community discussing where do they want it to go. So it's a lot of panel discussions and fireside chats on the keynote program really about how are we going to make medicines in 25 years time, how are we going to be able to afford them as a society, and what do those models look like, as well as looking at what new technologies are coming through that are going to impact the R&D process and some of the innovative business models underneath those companies trying to achieve it. In addition, this year we've added a company pitching stream. So there'll be 50 companies pitching throughout the day in that parallel stream. And again, it complements where we are with the other events, which you'll hear about shortly in a sense. I think because there's lots of learnings along the journey where some of the people involved in the startup companies and the financing and business innovation aren't the experts on what is the new technology coming through. That's going to come, you'll go to an event like the ELRIG and SLAS type science base, well, what's coming down the track. And equally, Genesis isn't looking to be an investor conference. The pitching is there as much to pitch for advice as there is to pitch for investment. Because I think there's a well-trod path that says that if you pitch for advice, not money, then you'll get twice as much money in the long run. And I think that's the point of a community like this and all the other organizations on the call. It's about knowledge sharing and it's about enabling your peers to work with you collectively to achieve that. So that's Genesis. It's really driven by trying to provoke the right questions, thinking where we want to go, and then the connectivity to deliver it.
And Tony, at events, everyone is there to learn, there to network, but also to have a bit of fun. I think you have a reception as part of your event. Could you talk a little bit about that? I went last year and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we do. Well, we have two receptions, I guess. So we sort of get ourselves warmed up for the day by a welcome reception the night before, which is very informal and is involving just basically going to a bar and saying, come and have a beer and meet some other interesting people. What I find that does, and we find it really energizes the next day. So everyone's rocking in through the door, already having made some contacts and some stories to tell from the night before usually. And then we go to the day of Genesis, which, you know, it's Christmas. We're going to be in a networking area at the conference center with a massive Christmas tree. Everybody's making their wish list they're going to send to Santa. And that's the kind of flavor, because I think with everything, deals happen because of human beings, and human beings need opportunities to build trust and relationships. And that's the kind of environment we seek together. And then what we do with RESI happening back to back, particularly in the partnership as last year, RESI delegates who aren't signed up for Genesis can join us for the end of that day to mix up the networking even further. And likewise, it'll be the same when it comes to the welcome reception after the other events.
Thanks, Tony. And I know that you're of this group, probably the resident London expert. And Sanj, I know you're certainly no stranger to London. Do you guys have any tips, travel advice, things to see for those who are making the journey from far away to visit, other than the usual stuff like the Buckingham Palace and Westminster Abbey and so forth? What can they expect in London?
That's not something I would do, Sagato, and Buckingham Palace. But no, I mean, London's such a huge, cosmopolitan, buzzy place, and the location where Tony's holding his meeting is right behind Oxford Street. So it's literally a five. Vicky, you were there last time. You've also done this as well. It's a few minutes walks, and you're inside Selfridges, and go see the Selfridges Christmas window. That's always worth seeing as well. Where Vicky and I are holding ours, it's a little bit to the east of that. It's just over by Euston Station, King's Cross. But you can still walk into London or grab a cab or even grab an underground. But that's something I would definitely do, Cigar. So anybody who's not used to London, I would only take public transport. I would not bring a car. And everything's connected.
So I guess
I think that's the thing when you look across the whole week, the events are close enough to each other where you really can walk between the venues. It's a short cab ride if you choose that option. But I think there's something about London at Christmas time is really magical. And if there's any sector that needs magic at the moment, it's life sciences. And I think they create magic year in, year out. But now it really is time that we need to, and we're seeing how we're addressing unmet needs and addressing disease states that we always thought were going to be undressable, and technologies are allowing us to do that.
Yeah, Tony, we can always trust you to get a zinger off. Like life sciences needs a bit of a miracle. So
Well,
Vicky,
miracles come with dollar signs, and I think that's what we need now.
So Vicky, maybe I'll pivot to you a little bit. Could you talk a little bit about the SLAS event you guys are doing with ELRIG?
Sure. This is a joint networking event.
So
I think, Sanj, is this the fifth one we've done together?
You've got a picture.
Yeah. And this is going to be sort of kicking off the week on December 2nd. And it's being held, as Sanj said, not far from King's Cross Station in the Knowledge Quarter. It's free to attend. And this event is meant to be a little bit of science, knowledge sharing, as well as networking. Very informal, but we're going to kick things off with a presentation around AI in drug discovery. And we have two speakers, Dr. Anna Gogleva and Dr. James Opzumer, who are going to be presenting on that topic. So like I said, we'll get things kicked off with a little bit of science, and then we'll all have some nice holiday cheer after that. And you said something a minute ago, Sagato, a lot of startup CEOs were scientists first. So if you are one of those, this is a place where you can kind of get your science fix and then have the opportunity to chat with folks who maybe can help you solve a problem that you just haven't been able to come up with a solution to yet.
And Sanj, what can you tell us a little bit about at the ELRIG SLAS event, what kind of crowd we can be expecting? Obviously, scientists, as Vicky just said, but does it tend to be on the biotech side, on the device side, everything combined? Tell us a little bit about what you'd expect.
Yeah, this is a really nice. That's a really nice question, because one of the strengths of SLAS and ELRIG working together is that we've been marketing this to both our databases, which is very complementary. As Vicky said, SLAS is a very global organization, and perhaps, and Vicky, I'm sure you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but you have a strong presence in the United States, and I have no doubts that will bring in some of the American audience and the European audience, and ELRIG is very strong in the UK as well, so we will bring in that audience. I think about 60 to 70% of the people there will be from pharma, biotech, CROs. It normally works out around about 10 to 20% from pharma. There are some very strong pharma divisions down in London. There's the MSD in the Crick. There's AstraZeneca's over in the Crick as well. GSK have a site in the Crick as well, and of course Janssen is around the corner. And let's not forget that the place that we're hosting this, and we have to say thank you to our hosts because they're giving us the space free of charge to support the community. And the place is the event is being held in the Knowledge Quarter, which is which is also the home of Novo Nordisk in London as well. So we want to thank Novo Nordisk for giving us the space in the Knowledge Quarter for this to happen. So cigars about 20-30% pharma, 30-40% biotechs, and about, I would say, 10% CROs will be coming in. But then anybody else who comes in, they are involved in drug discovery, whether they're academic or whether they're a tools provider or whether they're investors. We also get investors as well, Sagata.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to, I think, reiterate, especially for those who are listening who are not based in the UK, that the UK and London especially is such a life sciences hub with some of these companies that you mentioned on the pharma side, companies like GSK and AZ, and then on the investment side, companies like Abingworth. So, there's really a strong presence. And, one of the advantages of coming to London Bioinnovation Week is not just our events, it's the opportunity to set up meetings with some of these fabulous entities based in the London area outside of our events. And, you should definitely leverage that and maximize the ROI. So I'll talk a little bit about RESI London. RESI stands for Redefining Every Stage of Investment. And what we mean by that is we very much focus on ensuring that you are getting the optimal match with the investor and the strategic partner that's right for you as a early stage life science company. And by early stage, we mean companies that are typically raising anywhere from pre-seed to Series B. And that can be anywhere from several $100,000 to $50 million. And we have 10 different categories of investors that attend our events. We're expecting over 150 investors to be at RESI London, which is December 4th. I think I will, right after this, go about and review with everyone the dates and times of your events, because I was remiss in not doing so. But RESI London is on December 4th in person. And then there are 2 virtual days that follow. And the virtual days give more of an opportunity to have partnering meetings with investors that are either based in the UK or not even based in the UK. Of course, the virtual meeting gives endless opportunities to network around the world. At our event, there's a partnering system. This is a system where you go in, you fill out your company profile, you fill out when you're available to take meetings with investors and strategic partners. You go in the system and you look for the many, many investors and strategic partners that are in the system. Not only are they in the system, they have very detailed profiles that make it very easy for you to find the ones that are best matches for you. And then you send the meeting requests. And then what we do is we take the meetings that get accepted and we schedule them for you. So you show up at the RESI London event with a full cadre, a full schedule, hopefully a full schedule of meetings with investors and potential strategic partners. So it's a really great way to accelerate your fundraise. It's more than conceivable to have 10, 15, 20 meetings with investors all in one day. So, you don't get that kind of business development typically done in one day. So, it's not for the meek, it's for the people who are very seriously fundraising. And we also have a number of programming elements that are focused on fundraising. Some of those include partnering with Big Pharma, which is about building strategic relationships to accelerate innovation. A session on angels and family offices to help People understand flexible capital and long-term support for early-stage innovators, medical devices and diagnostics, which is basically forward-looking trends in medtech innovation, digital health and AI, which is harnessing technology and using it to transform the patient journey. A look at the UK and European ecosystem, looking at the global opportunities and kind of a dynamic innovation landscape. Early stage therapeutics, how to accelerate breakthrough therapeutics and therapies in preclinical and early clinical stages. And finally, a session on seed funds, basically catalyzing the earliest stage of healthcare innovation. Then we have a number of workshops. We're providing a workshop, we meaning Life Science Nation, on our new service to arrange meetings with investors for early stage life science companies. We'll have a great workshop provided by Tony and friends from One Nucleus. We'll have a law firm talking about issues like corporate structure, strategy, IP. We have something called Tales from the Road, where we talk to a number of early stage companies that have gone through that investment journey, so you can learn from them. We have workshops from drug development experts, and finally, a workshop on how to evaluate or value your early stage therapeutics or early stage life science company. So it'll be a great event. We really hope to see all of you there. Again, that's on December 4th, all day, followed by a exciting reception, a very investor-heavy and pharma-heavy reception, I should say, in the evening. But I want to pivot back to Tony, Sanj, and Vicky, maybe to just share some of the logistical details of your events. And Tony, I didn't want to forget that Genesis also has a few items called fringe events. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So Genesis itself, the main event is in person on the 3rd of December. It's a whole day event. And as I sort of alluded to earlier, it takes that journey across bioinnovation through to value creation for all stakeholders, whether that's for patients in terms of benefit, whether it's investors in return or the entrepreneurs and innovators. And given it's the 25th edition this year, it really has given us a chance to say, where do we think we're going here in a timescale of things that can change, and things change rapidly. So that there's going to be sessions around what have we learned from rare diseases that helps us apply that to R&D for more prevalent disorders. But interestingly for me, we're going to finish the day at Genesis looking back and thinking over the past 25 years, given at the turn of the century, we had genome sequencing, we had combinatorial chemistry, we were getting more automation, but it's really speeded up, which is much more the SLAS sort of forte than ours to dwell on. But has the sector really delivered on expectations from 25 years ago? And what's prevented some of that or hindered it? And can we do better in the next 25 years by removing the things that were the hindrances? So I think that sort of rounds out the day for us, because we'll be starting with the day off with we always have this keynote from a chap called Mike Ward, who's one of the industry commentators, looking at winners and losers from the previous year. I'm assured by him this year he's going to go for humour, because he couldn't find that many winners. So he better line up another way. But actually, I think we're seeing winners start to emerge as the year's gone along. So I'm feeling optimistic going in. And again, we have not as in-depth as the RESI conference, because it's a different dynamic, but there is a conference app which allows people to message each other to ensure they connect. And then for this year with the London Bioinnovation Week, we've just opened that up for anybody who wants to join it. So you may not be able to go to all the events, but you could be in a different event but still be in the same city. You want to meet up with someone for a coffee or a beer, or to go window shopping down to Selfridges or whatever it is you feel the pastime is for networking. And you touched upon the fringe events. These are events that are they're usually hosted by corporates in London. They're on quite specific topics most of the time, and quite smaller sessions. So there may be 30 or 40 people at them. But this year, given everything else that was going on, there's only going to be 2 of those. One that will be two the day before, But they wanted a breakfast in the Shard looking at IP strategies when innovations become global. What's the best way to build a strong IP strategy? And an afternoon session for a small group talking about, unsurprisingly, AI and what's that meaning in terms of how you protect the value you create and how do you commercialize it. And on the Monday evening, there's a session around diagnostics with the UK Health Security Agency. But really, the whole point for us around this whole week, whether they are Genesis Fringe, RESI, SLAS, ELRIG, Life Science Integrates, it's about giving people the maximum opportunity to learn and maybe taking some time out to go to things that they don't normally go to as a core conference, but it's useful to connect with people who operate in a different stage to where they are, just so they can help their thought processes and generate innovation between them. So that's really the whole thing around us. It's about people.
Sanj and Vicky, can you give a little bit of information about your events as far as the logistics?
Sure. It's taking place on December 2nd, and as Sanj said, it's being held in the Knowledge Quarter, really easily accessible from anywhere in London. You can register for it on either one of our websites. And like I said, it's free to attend. So once you're signed up, you're in. Now, I will say we do have some limited capacity. So if it's something you're thinking about, you definitely want to get signed up. I don't know that we'll be able to take too many walk-ins. So sign up now.
Yeah, I've got to reiterate what Vicky said. We're reaching capacity. So please sign up. And as Vicky said, it's right in the Knowledge Quarter. It's very accessible. And on the 2nd of December.
And I think Sanj and Vicky, as you said earlier, a pharma, biotech, CRO crowd opening with an exciting session on AI and drug discovery. So about how long would that go? And then afterwards, I understand there's pretty cool networking opportunities.
Yeah, you want it in front of you, Vicky?
Go ahead, Sanj. Yeah.
I mean, there's actually a workshop before being run by one of our automation partners, a company called OpenTrons. But then the actual speakers, they come on a little bit later on in the evening. They come on around about, is it 3 o'clock, Vicky, you've got there?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to talk for about an hour, hour and a half maximum. And then there's an apero directly after that. But all the details are either on our website or on Vicky's website.
So I just wanted to provide some logistics on RESI as well. So as I said, December 4th plus 2 virtual days. We'll start in the morning and go until the evening. It's at King's Fund, 11 Cavendish Square. The URL is resiconference.com. And you can either just click on the RESI London graphic, or if you want to be very URL-ish, you can do resiconference.com/resi-London. Tony, I know for the ELRIG SLAS event, that's free, but One Nucleus and Life Science Nation do charge for our events. Can you do a quick synopsis of the pricing for Genesis, Tony?
Yeah, so for Genesis, basically the standard rate for Genesis for a delegate is 545 for the day, plus VAT because we're in the UK. But that goes down. Our members get cheaper rates, and some of our partners through collaborating organisations here, if they're members of SLAS or ELRIG, and there is a combination ticket for RESI and Genesis. If people want to buy that, they buy it directly through LSN under RESI booking. But that's kind of the standard rates for us that we use. It we don't tend to vary them a huge amount across more complicated structures. It's not, we don't have a kind of you only get exhibitor only or whole conference. Everybody's able to go to everything.
We can share just our website addresses real quick. You can go to slas.org or ELRIG, ELRIG.org. Click on events and it'll take you to the information to register for our event.
Thanks, Vicky.
No
we should also just remind everybody there's another event and the organizer of that isn't on our on our call today. That's Life Science Integrates. So they have this advanced therapist is also taking place on the 2nd of December, same time as Vicky and ours, because a mine event is taking place. So entirely possible for you to go to that event starting 9 o'clock in the morning, do that event, and then come to our event. And again, that is lifescienceintegrates.com if you go to their website. But I think to the point that somebody else made, there's a lot going on in London. London is a real biotech life science hub at the moment, and it's good to have all these events going on just to promote the cluster and to grow the cluster.
I think if you haven't visited London from a sort of a life science lens, if you like, for the last few years, it is quite staggering. You see the transformations around the Knowledge Quarter, where the SLAS ELRIG event is going to be based. The transformation's gone in places like Canary Wharf out east, where they're building a life science tower block for London. They have about 800,000 square feet, I believe, is going to be lab space in quite a non-traditional area for life sciences in London. Is very much city area in the past. And then developments are going out west towards Hammersmith. I think you're just seeing London really develop over the last few years as a hub for innovation. And I think that makes even more of a compelling reason for me why we would be collaborating across a number of events to let people really explore that opportunity in depth.
These are the various URLs, and we will send them around in email afterwards as well.
Makes you very resourceful, Sugato.
So I will keep these up for a few minutes. You can probably, if you're on a computer, still see us as the hosts on a sidebar. Sanj, thanks for mentioning the Life Science Integrates event. And I think that's around advanced therapeutics, if I'm not mistaken.
Again, I can I'll put it in the chat, but it's like Life Science Integrates, all one word.com. I would go there and then look at their events page, and you'll see advanced therapeutics.
Okay. Excellent.
In Victoria House. I'm not quite sure where Victoria House is, but
it's in the Holborn area. So again,
of
midway between Knowledge Quarter and Oxford Street, where we are for Genesis. And what's interesting about that one, it's been a massive refurbishment by the Pioneer Group to turn quite an old building into a city centre lab space, which is, if you get the chance to pop in and just look at it, it's actually just to look at is quite stunning. The refurbishment.
Yeah.
Excellent. I will open it up to the audience for any Q&A. Let's see. So if there are any questions from the audience, please do post. Additionally, when you get the email afterwards, if you have any questions, you can also reply to that email. Just one more item. I was remiss in not mentioning the RESI pricing, but a full pass, which includes the in-person day plus the 2 virtual days, is £1,095, and a virtual only pass for the 2 virtual days is £895. And then we have a combi pass with Genesis, which is I think around 1,300. So I would encourage you to again go to those websites. I will share them again. I will say last year when I was in town for Genesis and RESI, it was a little bit on the chilly side, but I think this year I have a funny feeling it'll be a bit warmer.
It's cold today, Sugato. Really cold today.
But that means it's gonna warm up the next week and the weeks to come.
Cold's all relative, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, Vicky's in Chicago, so.
Yeah, it was I was there last year for our event. It also took place right before Genesis. It was, I don't know, Sugato, I thought it was lovely.
Like San said,
It's easier than Chicago in December.
yeah, if you're used to Chicago, anything's easier. You can go to Antarctica and be fine.
Yeah, we fit right in down there with the penguins.
Again, in conclusion, uh, London Bioinnovation Week is the upcoming life sciences, early stage life sciences week to spend in London. Um, it's only going to grow. So it's your chance to join early, and once it becomes something as big as a JP Morgan, you can say that you went to the very first London Bioinnovation Week and be the most popular guy in your life sciences crowd. So we invite you to take part in the events. Again, the Life Science Nation offers the RESI London event, which is focused on getting your company funded and meeting investors and strategic partners. And for those who might have joined late, Tony, Sanj, and Vicky, if you could just give a 10-second, 15-second recap of your event, and then we'll wrap up the session. Tony, go ahead.
So yeah, Genesis, 400 people getting together, all with a common mission of improving patient outcomes, and it's all about discussing how we collectively do it better.
Go ahead.
And Sanj and Vicky?
Vicky, you go first.
Sure. So SLAS and ELRIG are holding their 5th joint networking event at the Knowledge Quarter on December 2nd. Come join us to hear some great science around AI in automation and drug discovery, and then do some networking afterwards.
Doing networking where you can celebrate the year and look forward to the next one. And I'm sure a lot of people there know each other very, very well. So it's always good to get together in an informal setting. And it's free of charge.
Well, I'd like to thank our audience for joining and thank our panelists, Tony Jones with One Nucleus, Sanj Kumar with ELRIG, Vicky Luisi with SLAS. I'm Shigato Das with Life Science Nation, and we'll see you in London, first week of December, London Bioinnovation Week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.